Have you ever heard Somalia called a failed state? It's a term we hear a lot, but what does it actually mean? And how did it get to this point? For decades, Somalia has faced immense challenges, from civil war to famine. But what many people don't know is the specific role the United States played in its journey. Let's look at the facts. Our story begins in the late 1970s, during the Cold War. Somalia, under leader Siad Barre, was initially aligned with the Soviet Union. But after a conflict with neighboring Ethiopia, which was also Soviet-backed, Barre switched allegiances. He turned to the United States for support, and the US, wanting to counter Soviet influence in the Horn of Africa, agreed. From the early 1980s, the US provided Siad Barre's regime with hundreds of millions of dollars in economic and military aid. This support continued even as Barre's government became increasingly authoritarian and brutal, committing serious human rights abuses against its own people, particularly in the northern regions. The US aid essentially propped up a dictator, which fueled widespread resentment and opposition among various Somali clans. This opposition grew into multiple armed rebel groups. By the late 1980s, a full-blown civil war had erupted. The US-backed government eventually collapsed in 1991 when Barre was overthrown. He fled the capital, Mogadishu, leaving behind a power vacuum and a country awash with weapons, many of which were originally supplied by the United States. What followed was a catastrophic humanitarian crisis. Rival clan-based factions fought for control, leading to widespread chaos and a devastating famine. In 1992, the US led a UN-sanctioned humanitarian mission called Operation Restore Hope. The goal was to secure aid routes and feed the starving population. Initially, it was successful, but the mission's mandate expanded into nation-building and attempting to disarm the Somali factions, a task known as UNISOM II. This led to direct conflict. The most infamous event was the Battle of Mogadishu in October 1993, later depicted in the book and film Black Hawk Down. In a raid to capture a faction leader's top aides, to us, Black Hawk helicopters were shot down. The ensuing firefight resulted in the deaths of 18 American soldiers and hundreds of Somalis. The graphic images from this battle shocked the American public and led to a swift withdrawal of US forces by 1994. This pullout left a void, and Somalia descended further into conflict without a functioning central government for years. While the US re-engaged years later with counter-terrorism operations, this early history of supporting an oppressive regime and a difficult military intervention directly contributed to the long-term instability that has defined Somalia for decades. The story is complex, but understanding these specific actions is crucial to seeing the full picture. Thanks for watching.